Car dealers are being urged to help support fighters on the front line in Ukraine by donating used cars. Ukrainians fighting the war against Russia need vehicles they can use for search and rescue and military operations. Pickup trucks that are in good mechanical working order are particularly in demand. These are then retrofitted with armour plating and weapons before being sent to the front line. I spoke to Oleksii, the founder of campaign Car for Ukraine, via Zoom. He explained how car dealers and members of the public with suitable vehicles can help.
It actually all started, on the 24th of February. Russia invaded, and a lot of people, didn't know what to do. A lot of people were lost. Me myself, in the first couple of days, I couldn't, put things together because it was like the rockets just flying around. Then a couple of days after, we realized that Ukraine is the whole showing resistance, and we have to do something.
Oleksii and a team of volunteers got together to help find cars to send to the front line. They searched across Europe, including the UK, for the sorts of vehicles they can use. Pickup trucks like the Mitsubishi L200 and Ford Ranger are perfect for the job.
Cars that we look for primarily, they are pickup trucks, diesel. There are a few models that we mostly like. They are Nissan Navara, Nissan King Cup, Toyota Hilux, Toyota Tundra, Mazda B2500, you know what you call it. And then there are Ford Ranger. These are like some of the most common. We don't come and say, give us your car for free. We're not in GTA game or something. We're not a police. So we actually buy them. And the reason why we buy them there is because, again, they're not really nice to purchase for normal use just because they were in use on farms. That means the cost will be lower. But at the same time, if it's well maintained, it's worth it.
Car for Ukraine gets requests from units fighting on the front line, and Oleksii then deals with sourcing the cars. He has a network of Ukrainians across Europe who can help find the vehicles that can be modified and then sent into battle.
The way how we bring it, we have people, as I mentioned, we have a lot of people who are involved in the process. There is a part of the team that talks to everyone who send us requests for the cars. So people say I'm blah, blah, blah from the unit, blah, blah, blah. We need this car for those purposes. We can give you all the official letter that our unit needs that, etc. And then the next step is to find cars for them. Of course, since we already have more requests that we can handle ourselves, if we just find a good car, we buy it because we know there will be someone who will need it. And we just constantly, once we have some donations on our account, okay, now we've got some extra money, let's buy some trucks. Once we have money, we purchase cars, they come into Ukraine, and then the process is going. Then the next steps will be happening. In the UK particularly, we have a few people, a few little groups who are located in different places. One of our colleagues, she's not far from Birmingham, and around that area, she's also searching some cars. She can even go there personally, but also she helps to, to not to supervise, but to just see who is available and who can help source a car in the UK on ground. Mostly they are Ukrainians who search for the cars just because we know them personally, we know that we can trust them, and because you basically in the process of buying a car, you have to send someone money, then they buy it for you. We also do it with strangers. We've done it with one guy, he's Irishman, who brought personally a couple dozens of cars. He drove them all the way from Ireland or Wales or some other countries within the UK, brought it all the way to Ukraine, came back, repeat, and he did it many times.
Say there's UK car dealers that have got the vehicles that you think that you've mentioned in stock, and they want to offer them to you. I mean, either as a donation or a heavily reduced price. How could they go about doing that, and how can they get in touch?
Through carforukraine.com on the website, you can leave a request and just describe what you have to offer. Mostly, to be honest, we don't deal with dealers that much, just because dealers always will have their margin. But if it's a dealer who is actually interested in supporting, so they can, let's say they can donate a car, And then as in return, we will put their dealership brand on the back of the car. We brand most of the cars because each car is either donated by someone personally. Sometimes it can be crowdfunded more, but very often it is donated by someone.
Once Car for Ukraine has the right vehicles, it then sets about getting them ready for frontline duty. This includes making them stronger and more resistant to attack, adding ways to protect the soldiers inside, as well as military hardware.
So there are little pieces that are protected all around. Second thing is we have to take care about the guys who are inside. So now we are looking at the body of the car. We armored doors. On most of the cars, we put a little piece of metal next to the neck because they're very vital vessels here. And if the debris hit you here, you're done. So we armor that part, head, neck, and the body. So the door, even though they might look like normal door, but if you come and you touch it, it's like twice or three times heavier than normal door. And there is like 10 millimeters of metal over there. And then there's also on all pickup trucks, you have this back window, which is also like if someone hits you in the back, also pretty vulnerable. Or if you get shelled from the back, it also can kill you. So we also armor that part. So that's second part. Third part is that, as I mentioned, we have a lot more requests that we can handle. That's why we try to make each car as efficient as possible. And in order to do that, we put gun turrets on pretty much every single car that we send right now. Those that can handle it, right, technically. So then there is another team that's specifically focused on different type of machine guns, so they know what exactly has to be built because they make it from scratch, and then they install it on the back. So then the car can evacuate people, the car can bring soldiers to the places, to the positions. The car can be used for the offensive because if you have the machine gun and then there are some Russians over there sitting with just AK-47, machine gun it's much bigger, it can hit farther and stronger. So that's the third part that we do with the cars. And the fourth is you have to paint it. And what we do is also we brand it. That way it helps us to keep the project sustainable.
What sort of difference are these cars making on the front line?
I think it's crucial, actually. Not just us. There are many people who do similar things. Some people don't armor them. Some people just send them as they are, which is also very good when you save our guys a lot of energy. You know, instead of carrying 20, 30, 50, 100 kilo of ammunition, they just drive it. And there isn't much lack of diesel, right? We are fighting inside Ukraine. Our supply chains work fine. No problems with diesel, but problems with more cars. And first of all, they're consumables. They can be destroyed very quickly. That's why they always need it. It's easy to destroy it. They are old, they break, so we always need them. Second thing, what it helps, I don't know if you dived into that, but the huge difference between Russian army and Ukrainian army is that in Russia, it's all very centralized. So all the orders, everything have to go from almost, like not from Putin, right, but from some of the generals. In Ukraine, we're trying to adapt, or I think we're on the way of adapting NATO standards, where people are more, like democratic values are they are switched into the, into the military sphere as well. So our guys can make their own decisions on the ground. And for that, they need mobility. So if they see that they can, do some stuff that can be really productive, they can have a truck, they can have machine gun on the back, they can have a drone or a couple of drones, then they can have a few other tools, toys. And then these four guys can be really, really productive. And using those few instruments, they can destroy many, many more people, and they can destroy much more valuable targets. We have many cases where our truck with the machine gun or our truck with NLAW or Javelin or something like that, they came to the positions, they destroyed a tank. They destroyed armored personal carriers. They destroyed even a helicopter. And last month, they even hit one of the cruise missiles that was flying into Ukraine.
So what made you want to do this and help in this way?
One of the main reasons is that I'm originally from Kherson. This is on the south of Ukraine. The city was liberated maybe about a month ago, right? But for all this time period, it was occupied, and my parents are there. A lot of my relatives were in Kherson region, which is still occupied. Some of the relatives are still there, and because the region is still occupied, Kherson gets shelled pretty much every day. My parents refused to leave, and that's the place I grew up. I was there until I was 18. So I'm trying to make a difference to make that place free.
In between his volunteering work finding cars for Ukrainian fighters, Oleksii works in esports on the outskirts of Kyiv. But he admits his work finding cars is now taking up more time, especially as his countrymen gain ground in their fight against the Russians in the east. Now, more than ever, support from people in the UK could help make a real difference.
There is either info@carforukraine.com, or there is also a contact us page where you have different types of inquiry. For example, one of the inquiry is, I have a car to donate, and then the guys can donate. There's another type of inquiries, others. So then you can just, anything, be creative. Another thing is, I want to help with my expertise. So if there are some guys, who are like, I can drive a car all the way, like I'm very much eager to drive a car from the UK to Polish-Ukrainian border, or even into Ukraine. I mean, this is also a helpful thing.
Anyone looking to help Car for Ukraine can contact Oleksii and his team via their website, carforukraine.com.
Amazing. James, thank you very much for reaching out, for initiating this thing. That is actually very, very important, and that's how we can keep the project, keep the project happening, and keep the cars entering Ukraine, and helping UK to update its old fleet of cars, and maybe even help dealers to sell more new cars.
Well, there you
there
go.
Many second-hand cars. Here's the business. Now we're talking.
Good stuff. Well, best of luck with your plans, and stay safe.